and Alfie Nicholson join us now. Gentlemen, very good evening. Quite a night this. Chris, I want to start with you. Are you shocked?
Mike, good evening to you. No, I'm not shocked, to be honest. Although he stepped down as chairman, it doesn't mean that he's actually leaving the football club because, of course, you know, he owns 29.4% of ENIC's stake. That equals 25% of Tottenham Hotspur. So it doesn't say that he's actually leaving the football club. It just says that he's stepping down as chairman. I feel like a lot of the fans are very happy with this decision at the moment. But what my question would be, what next? Where do we go now? Is the club being sold? Is investment coming in? Are new owners coming in? I have a lot of questions about the future of the football club. Of course, football clubs change all the time. And it, you know, for me, it is about what happens next.
OK, we'll get to that in a moment. So, Alfie, Chris says that a lot of the fan base will be happy. Are you happy that Levy's no longer executive chairman?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one, really. I think perhaps even Levy grew the club from the position in 2000 when he took over to the point where Tottenham's almost outgrown Daniel Levy himself. He's extremely good at the management of the stadium, but the financials of the club, and ultimately all fans want to see is their club preserved, and Daniel Levy, first and foremost, is very good at doing that. His tough negotiation skills have seen that happen for the last 25 years. However, there is frustrations on the pitch that are throughout the whole Spurs fan base and myself. We've seen ourselves compete in the top four, but there's sort of a feeling perhaps among the fans that Levy was sort of satisfied with that sort of level, and perhaps the club had the ability to push on even further, and we weren't taking that step under his ownership. And as Chris said himself, it's sort of a time will tell situation now. But personally, I feel that perhaps the club could reach greater heights that it has the ability to do under a different ownership, and perhaps it's time for change. But yeah, there's always be credit in the bank for the stuff Levy's done, particularly off the pitch, I think.
OK, I hear those frustrations. But Chris, surely don't you owe Daniel Levy a huge debt of gratitude for where he's got your club?
Well, like Alfie said there, he's absolutely right. You know, it was a very different football club in 2000 when Daniel Levy came through the door. As your stats revealed there, 18 seasons out of 20 in European football. But as Alfie also touched on, you know, the trophy drought, you know, one domestic trophy in all of that time. Yes, we won the Europa League in May. We heard Daniel Levy say there we want to win the Champions League and we want to win the Premier League. Every fan has always felt like that we've always been very ambitious. We want our football club to go and win and really, you know, go for it. You know, Mauricio Pochettino back in 2019 was sacked, you know, went multiple transfer windows without spending a penny. And, you know, there have been some very poor decisions. We've gone through so many different managers in Daniel Levy's tenure at Tottenham, and it has been very, very frustrating. You know, the fans, all they want to see is us really going for it and us really wanting to go and show that ambition on the pitch. There have been a lot of off-field activities as well with the new stadium since 2019. So we've had all of that frustration. I know Daniel Levy talks about COVID as well. But it has been very frustrating. There have been many protests in the last couple of years. Even the first couple of Premier League games this season, you know, the fans have showed a lot of discontent towards the board. But Daniel Levy has had a very thick skin. Yes, he's done a very good job in terms of delivering that stadium. But for fans, it is not about go-karting. It is not about skywalks. It is about success on the pitch. It is about players coming in and, you know, of real quality. And sometimes we haven't seen that quality delivered to the manager that we've had. And the managers have ultimately been left down. So it has been a frustrating time. Delighted to, you know, win the Europa League in May. But, you know, it should have been more. We should have won more during Daniel Levy's tenure as chairman.
Alfie, Chris touched on the protests there. Do you think they have had a bearing on all of this?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think the credit needs to go to the likes of the organisations that have sort of put these protests together. Even when we were winning, even when we were having good stretches of form, the protest was still continuing. And as a match-going fan, it was extremely noticeable to see, especially the banners in the large South stand that we have, when Levy could clearly see it and the consistent chants. But as Chris said, he has an extremely thick skin, and the years he's been at the club and the amount of media scrutiny and especially fan scrutiny he's come under throughout the whole years, I can't see that the protests over the last few years are particularly to push him over the edge to leave the club and step down in the manner that he has. I'd say that's probably not the sole reason, but he claims he's a Spurs fan, and he claims that he's always very receptive to the fan opinion of him. Yet we don't really see many public statements from him about the fan protests or any sort of wavering in his ability to accept the fact the fans aren't very happy with him over his years. But I can't see that that's had a particularly large bearing on him leaving. But I think other factors perhaps have.
Chris, what do you make of the timing of all of this? Because it feels from the outside like Spurs are like ready to go. You're in the ascendancy. You've got a trophy. 3 games into the season and the executive chairman's gone. What do you think? What do you make of the timing of it?
Very weird, a very, very weird timing. Of course, as the statement says that, Daniel Levy steps down as club chairman with the club, left in very good hands. And we've had a decent transfer window back in Thomas Frank as well. And there is a lot of optimism around the new manager in this season. So it does seem really, really weird timing. But it was a big shock to see Donna Cullen leave the football club during the summer. So we knew that something was going on. I'd heard a number of rumours about this possible change, but didn't believe them. But yeah, very, very weird timing, in my opinion.
All right then, gentlemen, to finish, starting with you, Alfie, what's his legacy at Spurs?
I think he'd like his legacy to be the Europa League final, especially with him leaving directly after it. But I think his legacy will be the stadium. And unfortunately for fans, that won't rub the right way. The fans want to see success on the pitch first and foremost. The stadium is tremendous, but is it enough to have a lasting football legacy? I don't think it is. I mean, the years afterwards, perhaps we'll sort of see if Levy had set the club up for success. He's made plenty of PSR headroom for us to go and spend in the transfer market in the next few years. Perhaps if that's capitalised upon and we win the league in the next few years, then people will look back and say, Levy managed the finances perfectly and set us up for success. But I think currently, as it stands, his success will be the development of the training ground and the stadium. And we'll see what the appointment of Thomas Frank looks like in the next few years.
What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, Alfie's absolutely right. He's left us in a really good financial position, and to deliver Hotspur Way and the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is something that Daniel Levy is extremely proud of. He speaks about it with such fondness, and I remember talking to some of the builders when they were working there, building the stadium. And if Daniel Levy walked in a particular room and wallpaper or paint went up and he didn't like it, he'd have them do it again. He wanted that place absolutely perfect, and we do have one of the best stadiums in the world.
Well, Alfie and Chris, great to speak to you on what is a momentous day, it feels, for Tottenham Hotspur. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, we're going to turn to cricket, and England are